Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I have a different line of questions. I'm going to begin with Commissioner LaFleur. Commissioner LaFleur, in your testimony, you cite the lack of pipeline infrastructure as your first area of concern in ensuring adequate pipeline capacity to support both gas-fired electric generation and other gas customers. Lack of access in pipeline infrastructure is also an issue that I have concerns about. But for me, the concerns are regarding the lack of access for minorities and women when it comes to jobs and contracts and economic opportunity available in the pipeline industry. Specifically, over the last Congress, this subcommittee heard from witnesses from all aspects of the pipeline industry, including private companies and associations, as well as from federal agencies, and each time I posed a simple question. Are there women, are there minorities who are owners, builders, and operators of pipelines in this country, and what are their levels of participation? Because I could never get a straight answer on this question, I drafted language in the Pipeline Safety, Regulatory Certainty, and Job Creation Act of 2011, which called for a comprehensive GAO report examining the levels of engagement and participation of minority-owned, women-owned, and disadvantaged business enterprises and contractors involved in the construction and operation of pipelines in this country. To absolutely no one's surprise, the GAO report came back stating that the levels of minority participation in the pipeline industry was so small that it was almost negligible. Now, I understand that this is not your area of expertise, but I want you to know that my office will be working with you, reaching out to you, and reaching out to FERC in general to work with us on establishing strategies for increasing access for minorities and women in the pipeline industry. As you stated in your testimony, over the next few years, we will have to build up the nation's pipeline infrastructure in order to address the shale oil and gas boom and make sure the energy is getting to urban areas, rural centers, wherever it's needed at. As policymakers, it is our responsibility to ensure that all segments of the population are able to participate in building this critical infrastructure and that all communities have access to the economic opportunities that will be available in the pipeline industry over the next decade. Again, I look forward to working with FERC, engaging FERC on this issue, and I'd like to ask both of you, do you have any responses or any comments to share with the subcommittee now that I've raised this particular issue?
Well, thank you, Congressman Rush, for bringing up an important issue and one I probably haven't thought enough about. I am involved in several organizations for women in energy. I actually was meeting with one group of women last night, and we were talking anecdotally about how there were more women in electricity than in natural gas as a anecdotal impression, and that backs up what you're saying. And more of them are on the regulatory legal side than on the construction side. I've also met with the Association of Blacks in Energy, which is headquartered here in the city, and that's an issue they're working on. I'd certainly, we don't at FERC give out contracts or choose who would construct the pipelines, but there's going to be a period of infrastructure opportunities, so I'd be willing as a citizen in the industry to work further with any of the groups to help make that happen. It certainly should be opportunities.
Congressman, I think we want to get all kinds of new people into the energy industry, minorities, women, young people. It's an aging industry. There's a great need for skilled labor, so to the extent that vocational education can be emphasized again in this country as it once was, that will help on the skilled labor side. I've tried to go out and be a force for involvement in what's, I think, a very exciting industry. I was the guest speaker at the annual meeting of the Association of American Blacks in Energy in Columbus, Ohio, a few years ago. So I've certainly tried to get a greater involvement from everyone in this industry, because I think it's the greatest industry and it's a great future and great jobs ahead.